Hello everyone, I would like to welcome you to my session here at Scottish Summit. I'm super happy to be here and to speak here in front of you, such a great audience. First of all, feel free to use the hashtag Scottish Summit 2021. My name is Alain Schneiter and we will talk about the valid and secured identity and why it should be gold. And I'm sure you would like to have a gold identity, specially protected with all your, with the factors they're needed. Before we dive into the session, I would like to thank you all the sponsors, our sponsors here at Scottish Summit. It's Script Runner, nice tools they have, DQ Global, driving data quality, Proximo Tree, consulting specialists of Microsoft, Redspire, Agilysys, and Hitachi Solutions. Thank you very much for sponsoring and to make the virtual Scottish Summit possible. Some words to my person. My name is Alain Schneiter. I work for Scopewise GmbH. It's a Microsoft consulting service company located in Switzerland. There as a solution architect working mainly on Microsoft 365 security. Started back in the years with endpoint management and some config manager stuff, and since a few years now I moved to modern workplace stuff and mainly security now. I'm also founder and partner from Scopewise GmbH together with my buddy Michael, and we have such a great team that makes me super happy to work there. Very good skilled people, and I would like to thank these guys anyway all the time. If you like to follow me, feel free to follow me on my blog, which is called blog.alschneider.com. From time to time I do some blog posts. You can decide by yourself about the content, but feel free to visit it, and of course follow me if you like on Twitter and Instagram using the Twitter handle alschneiter. Let's connect. What's coming into this session and what do we talk about? What's the agenda? We will talk about zero trust or zero what. So we will have a little bit focus on what it is, what it means, and normally I do some audience questions here, but it's not possible. But of course you can ask yourself, what is zero trust exactly, and why should we think about in 2021? And then we will dive into identity governance based on Microsoft Azure. What does it mean to have just-in-time access, privileged access? How can we assign it? How we can use it in a correct way? Also, we will check out what's access packages and access reviews. This will happen in the next, let's say, 40 minutes. So zero trust. Or zero what? If I ask you, what is zero trust? You may say, that's this and that, and we do not trust anyone, because it's a zero there. Exactly, that's a very good point. We do not trust things. Let's see what that means in a couple of minutes. But exactly, if we go back a few years, let's say we go back into the 1990s. If we have a look on the picture there, it's a computer, it's just a standalone machine. We had that, whatever it calls or was called, it's people that just worked within the corporate office. So especially with computers, let's say, and of course. Employees, they worked in a corporate office, they got their own computer, they had to produce something, added that to a floppy, maybe printed it, and they did some data things with that, what they produced. But there were no connections or not that many connections between computers. that definitely changed also in the 1990s, but more or less in the mid of the 1990s. So by 1995, most networks were connected using VPN solutions and internet replacing WANs. So companies started to using their own boundaries like firewalls, big firewalls, and they protected their whole company environment, IT environment behind these big firewalls. So data was protected in the back end, identities were protected, computers and tablets were not existing, but all these devices were protected behind these big firewalls. And we had these VPN solutions, and we still do have these VPN gateway solutions side to side, where we were connected to other branch offices maybe, or even to the internet or stuff like that, or our partners. So we started doing that really in the mid of the 90s. But if we have if you have an outlook now on our landscape today, it really changed, and I'm sure you agree with me totally. So this picture says actually everything. So anything and everything has more or less a connection today to the internet or to some corporate networks. If you look at the left-hand upper side, we have our personal computer, which we can bring into our company and work on resources from our company on our own personal laptop. This is called bring your own device. Yeah, that works, and it's quite common in few companies, not that common in big, large companies, but yes, it's there, and we can have our personal laptop or personal device. We have also a company-owned device, of course. They are connected directly or more or less directly to our corporate network. We have all these messaging areas today with email. We have Signceers, but since 2019, or especially last year, a lot of us work from home. So we have these remote employees. Most of us, we are no longer in the offices from our company, from our corporate office. We work from home. We're connected to the corporate office using VPN or our solutions. But also documents, they are left our boundary, our firewall. We can bring them on a USB stick. We can just share them using OneDrive for Business. So these classical boundaries are no longer there, and we need to think about how we can protect that stuff. Also, we enabled such a bunch and many cloud services during the last couple of years. If we take a look maybe on a cloud service or even on a SaaS application, we will see it's there, Signceers, and we use it. We may be not aware that it's a SaaS application, but it's there. We also have connected partners to our corporate networks using B2B, B2C scenarios. So everything is connected, and on a focus, maybe we should also have more or less in a shorter time the IoT devices, because IoT devices are getting more and more popular, and we need them to connect and to monitor what exactly they do, are they in a healthy state, and we need to connect that to our corporate office. On the left lower side, you can see the SaaS apps, and if we think about SaaS applications, it's actually back in the year 2000, we already had Salesforce as a SaaS application. This is not, maybe we do not know that it's 21 years back that we already used Salesforce as a SaaS application, but it's 21 years ago that they raised this as a solution. And since 2011, actually, since exactly 10 years, we can use Office 365. So Office 365 is 10 years old in this time, in these days, and it's a SaaS application, of course. We use that a lot, and we're aware of that. But not only that, also in 2007, the iPhone was released, which made a big mind change in a lot of companies on the employees and personal, of course. Also, the Fitbit tracker was in 2009 released. So it's also a SaaS application back in the years. But what does Zero Trust exactly mean? So if you have a look on that sentence, never trust, always verify. This means we check not only our identities, we also check devices, we also check our applications if they are in a healthy state. Are they affected or infected with threats? Then we will block it or we will remediate it and make sure everything is going into a good condition. So we will try to verify everything or a lot of components on the bottom of the infrastructure. This means we need to set up a model, a process where we actually can use or what we can use there. If we have a look at this Zero Trust access model, on the left-hand side you can see the employees and partners, users. He's trying to get access to an application. On the right-hand side you see Azure, Office 365, SharePoint, Exchange Online, or any Microsoft Cloud or other cloud service which we attach to our solution through internet connectivity. So this user, this identity, this device is maybe not within our boundaries, our classical firewall boundaries. Now we need to verify now, is this a trusted identity? Is this a trusted device in a healthy state? Does this identity maybe have a risk or is it under risk? If yes, how do we handle that? Those conditions are part of the Zero Trust access model. How can we verify this condition? Of course, we have solutions such as conditional access, which helps us here to sort that. We will try to check if a device is healthy, if it's enrolled in our MDM solution, such as Endpoint Manager. We will check the device healthy state. So let's say we have a device. This should be configured with BitLocker and enabled and protected by BitLocker. But the employee on the left-hand side tries now to connect to our environment, to our cloud applications or even on-prem web application through Microsoft Azure. And the BitLocker is paused or not there, the device is not encrypted. We can block the device to gain access, or we can also allow limited access on web browsers only, for example, session-based also. We can also enforce multi-factor if a user is not within this boundary which we trust. So if he's located maybe in Switzerland and we only trust our locations in the UK, then we have to do an MFA challenge, or we'll receive challenge and have to do MFA. This brings us to another point, which is called Microsoft Cloud App Security. We have the options with specific licenses also to use this Cloud Apps application broker, MCAS, called from Microsoft, which is a reverse proxy and allows us to do a conditional access based on a session. So we can redirect our session to this reverse proxy, and the reverse proxy then will check, do we have some such as conditions in a right state. So this means this is the Zero Trust access model. You can see it's more than just having our own boundaries. We can really extend that using specific conditions, using MFA, service health on the applications, and even gain or grant only limited access to our third-party apps or on-prem applications. What are the major phases of Zero Trust? This is the progress, and we will have a look on the left-hand side, so using privileged identity stuff, such as PAW. It's not a part of this session, but PAW helps us to have privileged admin workstations in specific scenarios, and also enforce, as we said before, MFA, for example, and also link our on-prem identities up to the cloud and make sure we can protect our identities using these conditions or conditional access within the cloud services. And one of the most important points for today is we should really use MFA. 99% of our user accounts should be enforced to use a second factor. That means 99%, we may not reach the 100% because we have some service accounts and principals we not can protect by MFA, but that should be monitored at least. So the question is now, or not the question, we will protect the identity. Yeah, the question is, how can we do that? What's the best way to really protect our identities? We would like to do that, but how can we do that? Yeah, let's say keep calm, lean back, let Batman do that, let Batman protect your identities. That's not a good idea, because Batman will not do that for you, even if we would like to have the Batman does that, but today we really should work on that. And as I mentioned before, we are in 2021 now, and we should not be still behind only these firewalls we had back in the 1995 or 90s. We should really have a zero trust model starting at least with MFA. So multi-factor in 2021, that should just be done. So we should take that this must be done. It's so important that we have a multi-factor or a second factor in place for all our standard and admin users, definitely. We try to reach this 99% or 98%. It's even better than having zero, not zero trust, having no MFA. That would be not good. But yes, how can we do MFA? We will not go in details technically here, but I would like to recap that a little bit. If you have a look on that slide, we should do MFA right today. We should not enable MFA if we talk about Azure within the classic portal, the MFA classic portal, where we only have yes or no. We should using conditional access. But the first step we have to configure before we do an MFA is configuring 2 break glass accounts. At least one, we recommend 2. So let's say you have admin 01, admin 02. Those 2 guys, those are your break glass accounts, emergency accounts. And emergency accounts means they are not protected by MFA. So we're talking about MFA, but these 2 guys shouldn't be protected. Because if you have an outage on the Azure site services, on the MFA services, you still need to be able to log in with these break glass accounts to maybe change a configuration during this outage of a service. This does not mean that you always use these 2 guys to log into your MFA, to your Azure portal or Microsoft 365 services. This should be stored, these 2 guys should be stored, the passwords in a safe area, in 2 safes with a long password, and especially you should also monitor the login on that. Get some Azure alerts on the logins. The second point is actually using modern authentication. Modern authentication means it's not a classical basic authentication, form-based or whatever, such as SMTP, POP3, IMAP, all those are classical authentications, legacy authentication, basic authentications. Use modern authentication for all your services where possible, and use modern authentication for your PowerShell modules where you do stuff, where you configure settings in the portals. And then, as I mentioned before, use conditional access as point 3. That means, depending on the conditions, you have to do MFA or not. And as you can see on the left side, there is actually a Windows phone packed into the iPhone, classical iPhone years back. So yes, but make sure your users are not that many prompted with MFA challenges. That's very important. If they receive all the time MFA challenges, they will approve even leaked credentials, and then MFA doesn't make sense anymore. Also, risk level, session-based as we had before, is a part of this zero trust and this identity protection. We're talking here about identity protection, and MFA is a part of it. And if you have the chance to enroll your devices into an MDM solutions, such as Endpoint Manager, please do it, because you can verify specific conditions on the device. You can check some compliance settings, like is it enabled does it use a TPM, does it have a AV on, is firewall enabled, is it protected by BitLocker. All this stuff can be done using Microsoft Endpoint Manager combined with conditional access. So that's what we recommend. Really have a look at that and go back today if you don't have MFA enabled yet. So what's the next step? When you've done MFA right, the next step should be identity governance. Identity governance means you will protect your identity better than Batman actually. What you get with identity governance, when we're talking about here about Azure identity governance, so it's a part of Azure. In there, of course, it's not free. You have to get at least the Azure Premium P2 license, which contains PIM and this solution for identity governance. So your tenant should be eligible with a P2. You will have a PIM, which is privileged identity management, time-limited access to privileged roles, to privileged resources such as owners, subscription owners, or even groups. That's a very nice thing. So you can get also group access by using PIM. Access packages helps you to easily access or grant access to specific resources such as Microsoft 365 group or to SharePoint site or to an application within Azure. So you can build your own catalog and add resources to that catalog, create that access package, and provide a link to your end users or even guests to grant access in a self-service way. The access reviews helps you to have a flexible approval workflow. So this workflow will send out an email to the approver. The approver has to approve or deny the request, and the outcome is again an email on the employee side where he or she can see there is access granted or denied. Also, the option to automatically delete guest accounts comes with identity governance. We'll show you that in a bit. So what does PIM do for you? If you're aware of the privileged identity management, quick setup or quick start area, this is where you can see where you can find your settings. We will go through that in a bit. It provides you a just-in-time privileged access, and it also provides you a time-bound access. Let's say you have a global administrator role assigned to you, but you would like to have only specific time access for that group, even if he has access. We can configure that with 1 hour, 4 hours, 8 hours, or even longer. During the enablement of the role or activating the role, we can enforce a multi-factor authentication. If we had access to the portal without multi-factor, we will at least or at latest then during the activation require having a multi-factor authentication. Justification could be enabled, so if I would have access to my global administrator, I need to send a justification. We also can be notified, or a group of people using an email address can be sent out a notification. We have the audit history, how many times this role was activated and who has access, etc. And of course, we have also these access reviews if we still have people in there and user accounts in there. So let's dive into the demo for a PIM quickly. We have here our labs open. This is the Active Directory, Azure Active Directory, and as you can see, we have Azure AD Premium P2 here available. Azure AD Premium P2 is the license you need, at least one for testing it, and then each account which is using identity governance must be licensed. You will find everything under the blade identity governance. You can also search here identity governance. If you do that, identity governance, we just have the identity governance here. Before you start, you have to enroll yourself into the program, into the entitlement management program, and enrolling your or onboarding your PIM solution, for example. As you can see, we have everything very centralized here. It's entitlement management using the access packages. We have the access reviews here. We have the privileged identity management here. And also, what I did not mention, it's a terms of use, which you can provide here as well. So if a user logs in the first time, he has to read the terms of use. You provide a PDF or a template, and this needs to be accepted or declined depending on the user. So let's start with privileged identity management. If we click on that, first of all, I can see my roles, my own role. I'm currently logged in as Alain Schneiter, scopewiselabs.com, and I'm a global admin now with that guy here. This is just a global admin account. I can find that here. I'm not eligible here because I'm a active assignment, permanent. This is not PIM, so it's not a PIM enabled guy, but I have some users which are PIM enabled. This user is not. I can see here my eligible assignments, active assignments, and expired assignments as well. I also have the opportunity or the option to see my privileged access to groups. So for example, I have a group, Demo 2020, one AIP super user Microsoft 365 group. This is a membership directly assigned. I can also request that if I would like to have a request to that group. This is such a nice feature, but it's still in preview, so be careful with your production environment. The third thing is I can activate Azure resources. If I have active assignments to specific subscriptions, for example, I would be able to enroll myself there and giving or granting access not only to Azure role, such as global admin, security admin, also to Azure resources. This is my own, tasks for my own. So I have also access reviews, my requests. But as I am a global administrator and a PIM administrator, this is a separate group, by the way. Privileged identity management administrator is a separate role where you have to get access to manage actually PIM. I can manage PIM now here by roles. And if you go to a specific role, for example, the security administrator, it's a high privileged role, same way as Exchange administrator is, or also the global administrator. I see all the assignments. Can do is add user assignment here. So if I say I would like to add a user here as a security administrator, I can search for a demo user, for example, and say demo 01 has now access. Just click next, and what kind of access does he have? So he has an eligible assignment, and he has a permanent eligibility. That means if the role assignment is deactivated after a specific time frame, he still can go into the portal again and activate this role. Or I can just say start today until for a month, for example. During this time, this guy, demo 01, has access to the security administrator role. So let's say we provide a week. Yes, this is not allowed. Yeah, it's 2020. Sorry for that. Also, it takes a year, so let's say he has until then. So the 365 days is the maximum. That's why. So let's say he's eligible, but only from today, so until March. Now we can see demo 01 is eligible to get this role for a specific time. But we do not have any active assignments, and we can also configure the security administrator role here. You can say 8 hours is actually too long for a security administrator. We only we only allow 3.5 hours. And we also require Azure MFA on the activation. So that means if we log into the portal without MFA, we do not having the challenge and the token within the browser session, then the role activation will require Azure MFA. Required justification on activation, required ticket information. We can either do that using a ticketing system on activation also, where we have to provide this information, and approval to activate in case of we would like to have an approval for this specific security administrator role. Next assignment, this is also goes into the similar settings we have seen before for the specific user. We do allow a permanent eligible assignment. We could also block that. And as you can see, all the expire eligible assignments after 1 year. This is default, as we also have seen before. Allow permanent active assignment. That maybe we would like to remove on a security administrator, so it's not always permanent active. Expire active assignments after a specific time, 3 months for example. Require multi-factor authentication on active assignment again. If we log in and we have a permanent active assignment, we will require a multi-factor activation and a justification as well. Next, notification. All these settings can be configured. We are not going into the details, but you can see that there is a lot of options to activate during the activation, to the eligible of membership. We can also provide some logs and critical emails only. So let's say we would like to update that role. We update that role. We have now provided the settings. Settings are changed to 3.5 hours. So if the demo 01 user now will try to get access, he only is allowed to have 3.5 hour time frame for that role. I have a second in private session open here. We have the demo 01, and let me just refresh that. We just had assigned the security role. This should be there. As you can see, we have now security administrator role here, and this could now be activated from the demo 01 user. So currently he does not have an active assignment, so he's just a standard user. And if we go to the Active Directory, you will see that because he shouldn't have access. So demo 01 does not have access to browse the Active Directory. But if we start PIM, he can access PIM without, as a standard user. He can access his role. So let's say we would like to have a security administrator activate this role. He's requesting if the MFA challenge is still valid, is the token still valid. We also need a reason for the activation, the justification we have configured. Just a demo. 3.5 hours is the maximum. Of course, we could increase that to a shorter time. We will activate that now, and because we have already MFA, we're not prompted for it, but it will refresh the browser with a new token and access rights to the security as a security administrator. So let's activate that, waiting for the refresh. Browser is refreshed. We have just activated the role. Click here to view your active roles, or we can do here, or we can also select that. We are now security administrator for a specific time, 3.5 hours until 11:12 p.m. tonight. So it's already close before 8 p.m. 3.5 hours. And the same could be done using groups. So as I said before, he has no active assignments right now, this user, but if he has a role assignment, he could also do that, or even using the ownership of a subscription or different Azure resources. Let's check if we can access that. I'm sure maybe we have to log in again. Security administrator. Should load the blade actually. Yes, and as you can see now, Demo 01 has now access as the security administrator to the Azure Active Directory as he does not have before. After 3.5 hours, this role will be deactivated again without privileged. The privileged role will be deactivated. Very nice feature. Let's go back here to our slides. Will not go in the presentation mode, just using it like that for a second. Let's go to the next point. So access packages. What about access packages? What do you get? You can create catalogs. So a summary of resources such as Microsoft 365 groups, or that means actually then also Teams, because it's based on Microsoft 365 groups, SharePoint sites, applications, and other stuff. You can connect your own organizations, which you collaborate with. So if we say, I will show you in a bit what that means before I try to explain it. You can also use it for self-service. That means even guest accounts outside from your organization can get an access package link and request access to your environment, SharePoint online sites, applications, team sites or groups without any interruption. If you have an approval process, of course, you can add that approval process, but you can also just send the access link out and they will be enrolled into your tenant as guest accounts and granting access to the resources. Internal, external accounts can be used, or internal, external identities can be used and protected with that. Even people that are not in your directory can receive that link and enroll themselves. And the approval process will also be part of that. How does that process look like? So we also have the same identity governance area with the access packages process. We can have a request access link, access package link. This will then be provided and provisioned. We request that, the resource will be provisioned, access will be granted. of course, also from time to time reviewed if that is configured. The very nice thing is also if we change the job role, we can provide some access packages, job roles with specific access to content, SharePoint site, team sites, team channels, stuff like that. And then the user will automatically onboard it or offboard it if the access reviewer says these people or this person does not need access anymore. How does that look like? If you go back, this is our demo user. We do not work with that. We switched back to the identity governance area. We have here our access packages. We can create a new access package. Let's say demo summit. We need the standard catalog, but we can also provide a scope-wise or a defined catalog, which we define in advance, or create a new one here. And the next step is actually to add resources. So who will have access to these resources automatically? Let's say we take a group out here. We take this application group. We select the membership within the group. It's a member. We add also application. Yeah, these people should also have Intune PowerShell Graph API access. And also to this specific website, SharePoint site. Let's select the role, the default access, and he will be owner of that SharePoint site. Here we have the option to configure who has access. This could be non-administrator direct assignment, so the link just will be provided to people, or people not in your directory, or even people, of course, in your directory. We will select that. All members, including or excluding guests. Requires approval, we will say no for right now, but you could also configure an approval process here. So who is going to approve this access package? Because we're running a bit out of time, I will create that right now. You can see we will not configure an approval, but we will enable this access package. We will not provide right now requested information, but you could. You can create some questions and multiple choice answers and also select that it is required. We will have a life cycle configured here on the default. We will not have the access reviews enabled. You can do a specific expiration date or never. That access package will never expire, or in a specific number of days. If everything is selected and green, not green but not red, then you can create that package. And this will provide you a My Access link. So if you go and copy that link, and as we have created that and we are owner, we can add that to My Access possibilities. And you can see now you have this demo summit access package. You can also see where do we get access. So we will have SharePoint site ELK 20 demo, and we have access to Microsoft Intune PowerShell module and to a group called MEM-APP-UMIP client. We can request that access, justification, request for specific period, no, and submit. This will provide a very nice email to the approver, or not. If it's not required, then it will just run through. So as you can see, it's auto-approved, delivering, and we will be granted with that access. That's a very nice thing where we can protect our resources with a self-service possibility. So based on the time, and actually we just have talked about this super features. Let's have a small recap right now. If we recap this session, try to get in touch with Zero Trust. This is very important because Zero Trust is the new way or the current way how to protect your environment. Enable MFA now. This should be done tonight, tomorrow, not later, let's say. Start enable MFA. Please do that and think about that if you've not done that. Use just-in-time access for a specific period and least privileged access. So don't provide everyone a global access, a global administrator access. That does not make sense. Most people or most admins, they don't need this high privileged accounts. Make sure you use your least privileged access. Also use identity governance. Again, it needs a P2 license for each user who is using the service. Start small. Don't try to configure everything right now. Start small. Protect your identities using the identity governance option within Azure. So thank you very much again to our sponsors. If you like to follow me, feel free to connect on alschneiter.com, blog alschneiter.com. Follow me if you like to, and use the hashtag Scottish Summit 2021. And I would like to thank you. Thank you very much for joining my session, and hope to see you on the next in-person event or at latest at Scottish Summit 2022. Thank you very much.